When we think of goddesses in art, we often imagine idealized beauty, marble bodies, graceful poses, and polished surfaces. But the earliest representation of female divinity looked nothing like this. One of the oldest surviving examples is the Venus of Willendorf, a small limestone figure created around 28,000 to 25,000 BCE. Rather than realism, prehistoric artists emphasized fertility, survival, and continuity. Scholars argue that figures like the Venus of Willendorf function as symbolic objects tied to communal identity rather than portraits of real women. In this video, I'll explore how representations of the divine feminine evolve across cultures and time, beginning with prehistoric fertility figures and moving through Aphrodite in classical Greece, Venus in Roman culture, and Isis as adopted into the Roman world. Together, these works reveal how ideas of femininity, power, and divinity change while certain themes endure. My argument is this. Across history, representations of female divinity shift in form and meaning, from symbols of survival and fertility to ideals of beauty, authority, and spiritual power, while continuing to reflect the social values and gender hierarchies of their cultures. These images are not timeless or universal. They show us how societies understood womanhood, divinity, and power. The Venus of Willendorf is only about 4 inches tall, yet her form is visually commanding. Her exaggerated breasts and rounded abdomen and wide hips dominate the composition, while her arms and face are minimized or even absent. Rather than depicting an individual woman, scholars interpret these features as symbolic. According to Sarah Millage Nelson, prehistoric female figures emphasize reproductive and nurturing capacities over personal identity, suggesting communal rather than individual meaning. Some scholars argue that these figurines may represent forms of embodied knowledge or even self-representation by women themselves. McCoy and McDermott propose that the perspective of many Venus figurines aligns with how a person views their own body, challenging the assumption of a purely male gaze. Others, like Margaret Conkey, emphasize portability and repetition, suggesting these figurines reinforced shared values within nomadic communities. The Venus of Willendorf then becomes not an idol, but a symbol of continuity in an unstable world. By classical Greece, representations of female divinity changed dramatically. Aphrodite, goddess of love and beauty, is no longer abstract. Her body is idealized, balanced, harmonious, and carefully proportioned. Praxiteles' Aphrodite of Knidos is often cited as the first monumental female nude in Western art. While her nudity suggests vulnerability, her posture conveys control and self-awareness, reflecting Greek philosophical ideals of balance and restraint. Unlike the Venus of Willendorf, Aphrodite's fertility is not exaggerated. Instead, beauty itself becomes a form of divine power, signaling a society less focused on survival and more invested in intellectual and aesthetic ideals. When Greek culture was absorbed into Roman society, Aphrodite became Venus. While Roman artists adopted Greek forms, Venus acquired new political meaning. Roman elites claimed descent from her, using her image to legitimize imperial power. The Venus de Milo reflects this fusion, Greek idealism combined with Roman authority. Her commanding stance and scale suggest permanence and dominance rather than intimacy. Female divinity in Rome becomes intertwined with the empire. Venus is no longer just a goddess of love, she's a symbol of cultural superiority and state power. Unlike Venus, the Egyptian goddess Isis retained her maternal symbolism as her worship spread across the Roman world. Often depicted nursing her son Horus, Isis represents fertility, protection, and rebirth. According to Laurent Bricault, Roman depictions of Isis blend Egyptian iconography with Greco-Roman artistic conventions, creating a universal maternal figure that appealed to diverse populations. Isis reintroduces themes first seen in prehistoric figurines: nurturing, continuity, and life-giving power, but within an organized religious system. The divine feminine returns to motherhood, now framed as spiritual salvation. Across cultures and millennia, representations of female divinity evolve in response to social needs. From the survival-driven symbolism of the Venus of Willendorf to the aesthetic ideals of Aphrodite, the imperial authority of Venus, and the maternal spirituality of Isis, the divine feminine reflects what societies value most. These images remind us that goddesses are never just religious figures. They are mirrors of human belief, fear, and desire.